Utie oha echi ponkno. Needs FM.
Honorable Member of Parliament for Adaklu, were your ranking member, Roads and Highways Select Committee of the Ghanaian Parliament. Your friend, Mr. Kwame Agboja governs. Yanano Chuchunko Kakra. Honorable Member for Adaklu, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Minia. T4
Why, yeah. Now, Umpo, at the same area.
Nyamia Dom, Bibia, okay.
Why, yeah.
Yedi, insure, yedi, thanks, maybe Bia, Emma, wedding uncle.
Why, yeah. Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, a state institution.
Yes.
Now, our professional relationship with another entity, also named Meridian Port Services.
Yeah.
Now, legal relationship dates back to 2004.
Yes.
Abra Omo and enter into a concession agreement.
Okay.
A fully built up MPS 2. Edema a year MPS say Wangshe na omfanye for 15 years. Then 2014-2015, a deed of amendment of the original concession agreement dated 2004. No, deed of amendment no Emma Quine say MPS own design one building now pretty a year terminal 3 for a period of 35 years. Emma omu propose $1.5 billion is what they pay, and the Ghanaian Parliament then agreed to a tax waiver of $832 million.
Yeah.
Eventually, ya build a infrastructure no area. Na an impact assessment of the contract on its associated impact on GPHA. Actually, say GPHA may lose up to 1,400 workers, or in the alternate, may lose $74 million per year from 2020 to 2026. Sir, as same way, Ababe Tomonim, minority groupings in the Ghanaian Parliament.
Yo, many are made out say the opportunity where T4 the dear T as some way say GPHA and now Obi Juma or GPHA say or through say MPS Aye Juma or move or Mujuma say Nami Tiasi Minia Sena Okano. The MPS was created in 2004 to develop a container terminal. As of that time, no MPS, Meridian Port Services, only experience anywhere in the world. In fact, they never existed. It's an MPV, SPV, a special purpose vehicle. And out of that 2004 agreement, no, nothing really happened until 2015. And a friend was saying amendment to the concession agreement. And MPS I agree say the following agreement with the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority plan, they will invest a certain amount of money to develop the port and also develop the motorway from Tema End to Accra End without sovereign guarantee. All they needed was a tax waiver, and a tax waiver knows that as you about Sekano tax waiver, the meaning is say you almost see port no cost 1.2 and now 1.5 billion. Anything that they will use to do the port, no, or more important, they will give them tax waiver up to 800 million. And the Enyesika will be a demand if they don't import or they don't incur that level of tax, they will not pay that level. And what was the shareholding of the SPV? Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority was given 30%, and then APT, any Bolloré, and then some people linked to NTP that time from the MPH were given 70% by the then government. MPH is a Meridian Port Holding Limited, existing only on paper in London as of that time. And the GPHA MPH 30 to 70% shareholding was existing. when the contract was amended, GPHA was still holding 30%, MPH 70%, APT, that is the APT borrowing. However, June 2015, a friend was saying an amendment of the agreement. Now, some shareholders authorized MPS say Omunko diluted 15% of the shares, and then Emma at the 15% B at the another entity. That entity was never recorded. Meaning, say the government at the time protested, say that is illegal, and Unim say a firm say almost see the economic management team under Vice President Baumia SAT committee. They sat in Aqua Safari for weeks, and that issue came up, and was told they were told that the 15% that was taken away from GPHA was not legitimate, so it was restored to them. And the port project, also the investors have invested. In fact, the amount of job that was created during the construction was still going on, and the amount of job that will be created after the project, it's quite amazing. So they dredged and then reclaimed land. We are told say, reclaimed 120 hectares of land from the sea. If you community to that area, and to build 4 berths, 1,400 meters for MPS use. Each berth will go down 16 meters depth. In a sense, bigger ships to me use, and I'm more installing the state of the art equipment to handle the port services and other things. And see, the sovereign guarantee that was not given, just said the state has benefited a lot in terms of this arrangement. But all of a sudden, GPHA, which is a 30% shareholder, comes out and says that some of their work, anyway, it's not GPHA, some workers of GPHA said they will lose their job. How are they going to lose their job? It's difficult for us to understand. Under the original agreement of 20 years, no competition, there was not supposed to be any competition within 20 nautical mile radius of the Tema port. And the new agreement also was between 12 and 18 years, depending on the concession. And a friend was saying that what the MPS is supposed to carry out is they say, don't operate the 4 berths exclusively for container only for 12 years, and or a maximum of 18 years. Container only. And then the amount of the volume of trade about Temano, even the number of cement manufacturing companies in this country, they are clinker. It doesn't come in container. It comes as bulk cargo, and all these ones will still be handled by somebody else. It's only a container services that are supposed to be handled by a GPHA, and all solar vehicles, including vehicles, are supposed to be done exclusively within the period. And workers be safe, they will lose their job. We want GPHA to come out clearly and tell the world how these job losses are going to be happening. Is it GPHA workers or some individuals who work at the port doing their own things that are going to suffer? Secondly, Yenim say, stevedoring companies and companies there Juma report from 2000 to 2008. Some people even believe say there were only about 6 stevedoring companies within the period of between 2000 and 2008. That was increased astronomically. In fact, the number has even gone through the roof within the last 2 years. And some of the services that are supposed to be handled by GPHA, all of them have been given to individuals linked to the current government. So if there's anybody taking away revenue from GPHA, it cannot be MPS. It can only be people that have been licensed by the government over the period to take those jobs away from GPHA. So as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen GPHA tell us point blank that based on MPS concession, of which they are 30% shareholders know, how they are going to lose money. So where from the 70 million they're talking about? How are they going to lose money? It's difficult. In fact, we have just this year, they are signing another concession agreement for Takoradi Airport. During that agreement, I asked them the same question. Are you signing this agreement today? And China, you will come and stand before us and tell us, say, you are going to lose money. They said they don't want to, on the floor. Obviously, GPHA was not directly on the floor. They refused to answer the question. So this propaganda said, hey, dear, Obiako signing agreement. And because of that, a lot of people will lose their job. Let GPHA themselves come out and tell us how the jobs are going to be lost. If you are 30% shareholder, if the concession says that MPS can only handle containers, and there are a lot of good services coming to the port, clinker, and any nyama, sugar, rice, some of which are not containerized. How are you going to be able to do this? And then we got Temaporta. Even Jubilee and some of the terminals are empty because other people have been given the right to handle the same thing on private basis and pocket the money. So it is never the case that anybody is going to lose their job deliberately. If that job loss is happening or the revenue is being denied GPHA, it is simply because, the current government took a decision to license a necessary number of historic companies, some of them who don't even have a wheelbarrow, yet they are supposed to be having port operations. So they don't have anything. Whenever the vessels can come up, they may turn up at the port, rent equipment from other people, do the business, and take their money and walk away. So they are the ones denying, GPHA revenue. That is the truth.
Okay. So, Honorable Member for Adaklu,
Yes.
Mr. Kwame Abuja Govens,
Yes.
is this your understanding of the issues relating to the relationship between GPHA and MPS?
Well, the relationship is actually documented on paper. That is why I told you there's no secret about the MPS agreement. For instance, they are saying that all vessels carrying 200 containers or more are the ones that will be handled by MPS. 200 containers or more are the ones that will be handled by MPS. Out of that, GPHA even invested money in other terminals that are supposed to generate them more money. You know, the reefer terminal. Reefer terminal is the one that handles the frozen food and other things. It's still generating money for them. It has nothing to do with how do you call it, MPS. In any case, Bisawon say the MPS port is not even in operation now. Ebanu said the revenue at the port is still declining, and people are complaining about it. So the issue is a bit murky, and then instead of us telling the truth, we give the impression that because of the agreement reviewed in 2015, and that is what the
okay.
Yes.
Did you say the agreement was for MPS to build 4 BEVs?
Yes, to start with.
Now, do you know how many BEVs and MPS are building?
No, they will operationalize 4 BEVs at a particular time.
What I'm asking is, you do know,
yes,
as a member of the transport committee,
yes,
say under the agreement, MPS ever build the 4 BEVs. And now I am asking you.
They'll build the MPS. They have a space to build about 13 BEVs.
No. What I'm saying is that you stated here. What kinds is here now? Your person you take you say you know what you're talking about. Now
Yes.
under the representation of the People's Act, who represent the ordinary Ghanaian, and who understanding and appreciation of issues are very very crucial.
Okay.
And what say the agreement enjoins MPS to build 4 BEVs.
Yes, let me put it this way. The MPS, they have to build and equip 4 BEVs with the next generation of a crane. So
Okay.
we are expecting them to do that with operationalize that.
Okay.
The phases are all written out there in the agreement with the GPHA.
Okay. Would you accept, sir?
Yeah.
MPS was obliged to build 4 BEVs before 2018 December.
Well, I don't know the exact date. All I know is that per the current agreement MPS is supposed to complete some BEFs by June, close of this month. And
would you?
I'm told they are on schedule to deliver some of those BEFs.
So would it surprise you? Say MPS has built only 2 BEPs out of the 4 that they are supposed to build.
I will not be surprised.
If it is brought to your notice, say MPS were building 2 out of 4. As a member of parliament, as a ranking member of the on the transport committee, okay,
the issues are 2. We are talking about some Uma will be contracted building 4 BEFs, and we see contract in the sense that it's a concession. Abai and fancy say they should build 4 BEFs. The agreement will say you there building 4 BEFs. Now out of their their funding arrangement, they are able to complete 2 BEFs as you are saying. I'm saying say that in itself cannot be the basis of the question you ask. Say out of that, thousands of people will lose their jobs, and revenue to GPHA will be diminishing. That is the point I'm trying to make. And almost building 4 and 2, that cannot be the basis of revenue loss or job losses at the port.
Okay. Wankasa na wo kasa wo honorable member of parliament for Adaklu, Kwame Agboja government. O can say a port no mo be building no. Omo be ye motorway ni nyina e de aka ho.
Yes.
Nampacho motorway no yaye ana.
No, the arrangement, to build the motorway was part of the original agreement. But I think even from NDC time, there was disagreement as to whether Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, any Ghana Ministry of Roads and Highways, to come to an agreement to allow them. And at a point in time, ME said they have disaggregated the construction of the motorway, the original agreement, and to say, it is no longer clear. Say, MPS is their responsibility to build the motorway. It's not only the motorway, to build dedicated highways, every port, eco-linky motorway, but I mean, say the linkage between the port from the port to the motorway there, it's a part of the agreement. But the building of the motorway itself, and let me say, that has been disaggregated from the company, from the main agreement at the moment.
Baka, the impact of the agreement on the finances of GPHA and how GPHA, having analyzed that impact, comes to the conclusion, say, from 2020 up to 2026, they will be losing $74 million. How certain tariffs payable by MPS are reduced, some of them to the extent of 90%. But before then, me pese otawason, just about less than 5 minutes. Now, the voices you are going to hear. First, you hear the voice of the Chief Executive of MPS, Mr. Mohammed Samara. And then secondly, you hear the voice of the then Director General of GPHA, Mr. Anamu. And then thirdly, you hear the voice of Mr. Mohammed Samara again. And then you hear the fourth voice, that of the then chairman of, I would say the chairman of the GPHA MPS board, Alhaji Asuma Banda. Then, fifthly, you hear the voice of the then Rules Minister, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni. Then, finally, you hear the voice of the then President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama. After you've heard all of them speak, and then we will ask you some few questions. In fact,
but I was hoping you play the voice of the current. Meaning, say Alhaji Asuma Banda was chairman for some time, but he's not very well. So the person who is more or less working, say GPHA has got a share, so they have a standing membership of the MPS board. And meaning, say Honorable Mr. Mark Menu is a significant player in that project as we speak. Some people even consider him as a de facto board chairman. I would like to hear from him what he thinks, whether he thinks that the board of which he's a member, even if he's not the substantive chair, but acts as a de facto chair sometimes, whether the activities, including what they are doing now, would lead to job losses.
Okay.
Whether as a member of GPHA or the board, whether he believes that the number of stevedoring companies that have been licensed over the past 2.5 years
in fact,
at the port is
In
sustainable.
fact, that is a fair question, and we would even urge you, where Mr. McMahon refuses to come out, use your parliamentary position through the Ministry of Transport to get Mr. McMahon to come and tell, under the representation of the People's Act, the Ghanaians representative that is in Parliament, McMahon should come and tell the Ghanaians representative why he is a member of MPS board, why he still continues to be the chairman of the GPHA board, and the questions you are asking therein. We all have questions to throw at him, so that Ghanaians would come to appreciate what is at stake between the relations between GPHA and MPS. Now, let me crave your indulgence. Now, those voices we talked about. Incidentally, it is 11 minutes. Let's hear them. Let's hear them. Let's hear them.
Opened up a second phase in investment in MPS and expanding the existing facility by adding more equipment and by adding more cranes to the quay wall, which will see us through the next 2 to 3 years. And at that ceremony, we were grateful to have the challenge from His Excellency the President to say, is this enough for how many years? We said 2 to 3 years. He said, what about the future? And then with Ray, we jumped into the port master plan, which was being developed.
Over the past few weeks, we locked ourselves into some major negotiations regarding the expansion of Tema ports. The whole idea was to see how we could implement our planned expansion, which will require the development of 4 new berths with a distance of 1.4 kilometers of quay, dredging that we can bring in vessels 60 meters depth, breakwater that will take care of not just today, but for the next 30 to 40 years of our maritime life in Tema Port. In addition, we have always maintained, and of course with your support, that as a port, our traffic will not go anywhere unless it's linked up with a good road network and of course railway network. So the plan incorporates a well-defined railway terminal intended to take cargo by rail out of the terminal, out of the port, as well as access roads to the ports. So in the negotiations, we've added the EC or the motorway from Tetakwashi right up to Tema Port, including all the interchanges and, of course, the access routes into the port as well. So all these have been done. We have reached a mutual agreement. We are satisfied with the contents of what we have reached with the MOU. Your Excellency, we are most grateful that yesterday, collectively and before the Honorable Minister, we signed the MOU. So with your permission, we can say that it's effective, as from the time that we signed. And then it's programmed that the entire project should be finished by 2018, all the 4 berths. Most grateful, Your Excellency. Yes.
That will represent a development in the range of $1.5 billion. Your Excellency, this is the largest and will be the largest port development ever made in Africa to date. But the vision, your vision to have this and unlock the port, there is a lot of work to be done, and we need a lot of more cooperation, not only with GPHA, with Roads and Highway, and we need to really move this project forward. The shareholders are really excited. This is a lot of capacity, and it will be equipped with the latest of the latest. So for the shipping community and the shipping lines, I would say, bring your big vessels from 2 years from now, and certainly we will handle it. Your Excellency, thank you very much. Thank you.
I said it yesterday when we signed the MOU. I'm the only person who was relieved I have been in shipping for almost 45, 46 years. I have partners in Europe. For somebody to be able to convince partners in Europe to invest 1.5, I think the money is 1.7 billion. And my thanks go to His Excellency. The day we did our crane inaugurations in Tema, I told him, I said, Mr. President, I'm asking you to give us a permission to extend further, and we are prepared to spend 500 to 600 million. And I could see His Excellency that day. It's something I've been saying everywhere. The speech prepared for him, he threw it away. And he was taking note of my speech. So his speech became reply to what I said. He said, Chairman, I'm taking you on your challenge. 500 to 600 million. If you can do it. I even promised him that I will finish that project this term, 2016. He will inaugurate my 500, 600 million project before 2016 elections. He said, I've taken you on. He gave it to me. But during the negotiations, then the demand became more and more and more. Then the road came in. Then we said we will do it. We are not road constructors. We only do the port. But we could see through the tunnel that that would really enhance it. President and his team didn't let me down. And I think I'm the happiest man for these projects to go on. Whatever I'm going to do to make it work, I'm sitting before all of you here to promise that I will do it. And I thank you very much for having the patience. And I'm so happy that we are alive. And this thing is going to be on our lifetime. The only thing we have to do now is to pray to see the end of it.
But definitely this project is a wonderful project. Tema motorway has to be rebuilt. It has the capacity of paying for itself. So thank you so very much, Excellency, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this wonderful occasion. Thank you.
Let me congratulate GPHA and MPS for the continued partnership that you have. This is moving it to another level. Our ports in West Africa are in competition with each other because of not only our own internal traffic, but also because of the traffic of landlocked countries. And so the more efficient our port is, the more traffic it will attract and the more jobs it will create within our economy. Tema port has been constrained for a long time, and many people have complained about the congestion at Tema port. And so it's been one of the priority projects that this government, has put before it to execute in order that we ease the congestion and improve the efficiency so that the shipping lines will feel more comfortable discharging their cargo here in Tema than in any other port on the west coast of Africa. So the announcement of this 1.5 billion investment, which probably is the single largest investment in any port on this side of Africa, is very significant. And the speed with which this construction is going to be done is also very impressive, and I appreciate it very much. I think that the addition of the road is very significant because Tema and Accra are becoming twin towns, growing closer together and moving cargo along the West African Highway, which comes through Aflawa and cuts through Tema and Accra all the way to Elubo. And then also with the construction of the Eastern Corridor through Volta region to the eastern part of Northern region into Burkina Faso and Northern Togo, and the Central Corridor that splits off through Achimota, Ofanko, through Kumasi
to Tamale and Paga. It makes the motorway and the interchange there very important because, as you said, if we achieve a huge expansion of Tema Port and we have a constraint of the roads leading to the port, then we would virtually have done nothing. And so the combination of the road to the expansion of the port is something that I appreciate very much. I'm also happy about the addition of a railway, terminal to be able to handle railway cargo, because as I speak, we are also in discussion for public-private partnerships to establish the Eastern Corridor railway line, which would take traffic from Tema through Nsawam and all the way to Kumasi, and probably further from Kumasi northwards towards Hamile. We're also in discussion with the Indian government for an 80-kilometer railway line from Tema to Akosombo to use the lake to push container traffic up to Buipe so that Burkina Faso and Niger can pick up their cargo from there rather than coming all the way to Tema to pick the cargo. All these designs will make Tema probably the best and most efficient port in the whole of West Africa. And so this is very good news for me. I want to encourage you. This is just the first step, the signing of the MOU. I want you to accelerate the rest of the paces of this project so that we see this project come on stream as quickly as we all have planned. My information is that in the construction period, there's going to be generation of employment of nearly 5,000, jobs during the construction of the port. And after the construction of the port, several thousand, jobs are going to be created in the operation of the port. And so you have our absolute backing. Government will create the enabling environment for this project to go on as quickly as possible. And I want to congratulate the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and also congratulate MPS and Chairman Banda for the very good job you've brought in realizing this project in this period of time. I must say that we've all been in a hurry to see this project come on stream, but to have been able to sign an MOU between March and November, it means that there's a commitment to getting this project off the ground. And I hope that that commitment that has been shown will reflect in the subsequent stages that we are going to undertake to ensure that the port expansion takes place as quickly as possible.
Honorable member, there was a pass on your chance na utie. Your initial reaction, having listened to the voices of the eminent persons?
Well, I think it's in line with what a senior seasoned journalist who names it's not different from what we as a record of what transpired after the revision or the review of the 2004 agreement. Indeed, that project, this project, has created a lot of jobs along the value chain, not only for people working at the site, but even supplies of material services and high-end, high-quality engineering jobs for people who attended tech and all other places. And indeed, after this, a lot more works will be created in the value chain, and then a lot more revenue will be generated to the state, of which GPHA will be a 30% receiver of of whatever revenue is generated, and after 30 years, GPHA becomes a full owner of the port on behalf of the people of this country. I think it's a good thing. It's sad that the $200 million investment to expand the motorway is no longer part of this project, which a lot of people who use the motorway would have wished happen, and even beyond. So for me, listening to those gentlemen, our statesmen, as you put it, it's just an affirmation of what we already know. But what is missing is for me or you and I to understand what the people who are the helm of affairs today would have been saying about the same thing in terms of where we are today, in terms of the impact of that investment on jobs, impact of that on GPHA, impact of that on anything that was originally planned for. But sadly, I'm not hearing much of that from them. I don't remember the last time I heard from the board chairman the current board chairman on MPS, this project. I don't remember the last time I heard from the head of GPHA on this project. So it is very difficult when you hear people talking about job losses and revenue losses, whether it is coming from the same people who are supposed to know what is going on or is somebody else. That is why I'm saying that I would have loved to hear the voice of Honorable Macleanu and then the current boss of GPHA.
We will get there. We will get
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So now you admit, say, na motorway ka ho, na railway ka ho, na was here build 4 BEFs. Now motorway na ama, railway infrastructure no so ama. I have 4 BEFs no.
Let me explaining. The motorway was part of the agreement, the $200 million. The railway was not part of the cost of the 1.5 billion. There was supposed to be a terminal at the port. Uyi and Yama free a Ponuswa. You put them on the railway, and to, as has been said, you are taking them through in Sawam towards through Kumasi and above. And now Kosombo Road. Yenim say one part of that railway project is currently ongoing. Any friend Afcons, every Tamaport, Echo Akosombo, Anna Pakata.
Yeah, but say you restrict your home to the concession agreement and the deed of amendment. Because you heard the former president talked about say you be a motorway with 4 interchanges.
Exactly.
Osai can also say you be build all the 4 BEFs before 2018. No? You also heard MPS talked about and GPHA talked about the fact that Sadi Winyina Amano, as a member of parliament, being select committee ranking member, what would you want to see done about such shortfalls here, Abbey?
Okay. First of all, concession agreement, and there's no railway project, as you have said rightly. There's no railway project as part of the concession agreement. There are 2 major components. The port expansion. The second one is the motorway expansion. As we speak, the motorway expansion have been disaggregated, and it's not even MPS is not in the process of building the motorway any longer. It's a sad thing. I've already said. If I had my way, they should have been doing that as part of the project. According to the details of the agreement, the first operation, which is the second new BEF for operation of Terminal 3. MPS he has hand over Terminal 1 and 2 to GPHA. That's the old BEF because they are going to build 2 new BEFs. But by the end of 2020, they are supposed to operationalize only 2 BEFs. Only 2 BEFs at the moment. So I am not sure, sir. There's part of an agreement to say they are supposed to operationalize 4 BEFs. I haven't seen that clearly in the agreement. To say they are supposed to build and operationalize 4 BEFs by end of 2020. I am not too clear about that. I know that some of the clauses in the agreement are incumbent on other things. So, for instance, you talked about delay, which you rightly pointed out. But this is a situation, say, land reclamation. In fact, all the ports you see at MPS site today is a sea. So, in other words, somebody will say that we have created new land. So, if you were to draw the map of Ghana today, you are supposed to even add some land to it. Because before the MPS project, that was not land, that was sea. And that is where the 120 acres came from. Land reclamation is a complicated project. But for me, what I've seen them do so far is a good project. It's a good step at the thing. The delay in delivering 4 to the number of BEFs today, maybe if we had our way, we could have done them better. But it's not peculiar to the port project. There are even 6 unit classroom blocks and would you want to?
Would parliamentarians want to know from the GPHA the financial impact on their operations if this contract, as it is now, is allowed to operate?
We've been to the port for some time. As a matter of fact, I don't know the inner workings or day-to-day workings of the GPHA in terms of their finances. But the basic question I ask is this. GPHA was generating a certain level of revenue to the state over a period of time, up to 2016. Can we find out whether they are generating the same level or improved or decreased in terms of revenue to the state? That particular revenue, because the Committee of Road and Transport is not directly, maybe the finance and trade and industry can help us with that. Is when this port is completed. For instance, I've said that MPS already operates certain services at the port. Where they operate now, which is the old best, they are supposed to hand over all that to the GPHA and now operate the new best. And out of the operation of the new best, GPHA is still a 30% shareholder.
Honorable member.
Yes.
Mibusa will say. Se bibi na wonti ase a. Upepe say the board of GPHA, the workers representatives of GPHA.
Yeah.
Be brief mo na mate mo ho ase ana because say agreement wo ho na investment rate of return no business rate yes say in under 12 years 11.9 years.
Yeah.
Ubetimi ate woka. Na ya manipa no 35 years. The onfa entenika. And that 35 years, it is based on Senka. What building the third bear for every year and at 35 years and Bashasi account. That third bear for no on building po, yenim da or bell building po. Adia so ye did 1.5 billion US dollars. And ye dear calculation, the amount 35 years. And it is a net or the 1.1 billion US dollars. And was what the year, dear. Why do we still maintain 35 years? And we have a very venerable, honorable member of parliament saying, say, or commend the warm. Wherein lies your understanding of what is at stake now?
Okay, let's take them. Let's one after the other. As we speak, the MPS, the new port expanded project, is not operational. And he says, and we end to me say from next month, you bet me start generating revenue towards whatever they spent, and I don't believe they have spent even 1.5 billion. As a matter of fact, I mean, GD said they spent 1.5 billion. Whatever they spent, that is what they are going to be able to recoup over the period of time. The UCA, in terms of the number of 35 years, that is what the agreement holds. There are people who argue, say, the years are given under the 2004 agreement, and the years given under the revised 2015 agreement will run concurrently. But that is up to the lawyers. So it would be say the impact on the port. I mean, my simple reaction to this is that somebody Obi Akopon Nibosia without even government guarantee 1 billion. If I say 1 billion, port. The person is not asking Ghana say, Mutia Mika, give me back the money. The risk so far is on MPS. It's not on Ghana. The jobs, the 5,000 jobs that were created in the process of the building of the port is, in fact, if MPS collapses today, Ghana benefits because the investment has been done in Ghana. So government is not holding any risk at the moment.
Honorable member, you do not even know, sir.
Yes.
MPS had represented at the onset, say, the shareholders funding and the project, and it was at a subsequent instance. And they resolved to go for a loan from the IFC,
International Finance Corporation.
Exactly. And then when they went for the loan, they needed to put down a 30% equity in order to draw on the principal 70% na IFC debema. Then, if I could finish, then they come to GPHA now to say, and shareholder funding ye the loan and that we are requested to put down equity. So, GPHA, bring your cash representing your percentage in the share structure so that we can put the money together. Then GPHA says, we do not have that kind of money. We were led not to believe, say, disikebisa upfront ebeba. Then MPS goes further, and GPHA then 30%, dilute too without consent of GPHA, 15%, thereby raising that money. Say loan. GPHA protested as the current president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo protested say restore 15%. Now they are asking in excess of 40 million US dollars when they restore the 15%. Members of parliament, you wouldn't want to know about it and then work for the interest of Ghanaians.
A bit of misrepresentation in this. Let me tell you, Makan that I said, the 30% was written into the agreement for GPHA. For some reason, I even said, for some reason, some people at MPS went to the Registrar General and pretended, just as you rightly said, they pretended that because GPHA did not put forward a certain or raise a certain amount of money, they were diluting their shares and they reduced it. In fact, it was not that President Nana Akufo-Addo. There's evidence, there's a letter written that time by the Minister of Transport, Honorable Ativon, telling them you can't do that. That was not the original agreement. President Akufo-Addo they should dilute it. That can never be the truth.
They should restore it, not dilute it.
Pardon?
They should restore it, not dilute it.
Yes, exactly. They can. In fact, whatever they went to do at the Registrar General was illegal. So they should restore the 30% to the state. In this case, to GPHA, which was right. I agree with the president because it's the same position taken by the previous government. However, there was also an issue, as you rightly put it, there were issues about where they said they were going to get the money from to start the project. And now that they were saying that they were going to raise the money from equity, and then as a matter of fact, there's evidence there. At least a year or so when they started the project, all the money they used was not even from IFC. They were from shareholders. And they were asking GPHA to also, if you say you owe 30% of something, you also bring your money. But it was against the original agreement because everybody thought IFC was going to give them the money. So the position of government, the government yesterday and government today is right. It's the same position taken.
Okay.
That is not the
Finally.
yes.
Finally.
Yeah.
Since the assumption of office of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo,
yeah.
the economic management team set up a ministerial committee to go into the GPHA MPS relationship.
Yeah.
And the ministerial review committee has come out with a report dated March 2018.
Yeah.
Let me find out whether you've seen and read the report and what reactions, if indeed you have seen and read it.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen the full report. All I did was to speak to some people who were called before the committee. And don't forget, the government officials made statements in the past that they have been able to save the country a certain quantum of money. In fact, some of them were so misleading that they said that the 800 million tax waiver that was given, they have been able to reduce it, which is actually even wrong. Senior government officials don't speak like that. Tax waivers are simply this case. You say that you are going to buy something worth 100 cedis. And I say, okay, when you buy things 100 cedis, I'll give you 20 cedis as a tax waiver. So if you buy things worth 80 cedis, I don't give you a tax waiver of 20 cedis. I only give you tax waivers based on what you procure. So that propaganda that they were putting out that, they have reduced the tax waiver was completely needless. It never happened. That is the first point we'll make.
Okay.
Secondly, they spent a lot of time and money. In fact, there's evidence they hired consultants, paid them huge amounts of money. Now the state should demand and find out, since you went and did this report, and how much did you spend on this review, which included the ministers, some members of parliament, and then experts, which you spent millions of dollars. What is the benefit of that review to the state? How much did you spend? Is it $2 million? Is it $5 million? If it turns out that we spend $1 million, $2 million, $3 million to camp people at Aqua Safari, feed them, let them sleep, give them per diem for weeks, and out of that we can't save one cedi, then some people should be surcharged. Some people should be surcharged for embarking on a goose chasing nothing. Because everybody knew the MPS agreement was quite clear. Today, how is the board chairman not telling us that the report that has been given, the actions he's taking, what is going to be the benefit of that? Because the man is actually de facto a chairman of the board of MPS. So, I mean, it is quite complicated. Why should that be happening? So, sometimes I want to get the impression, is the current government saying that it's a bad deal? If it's a bad deal, how come is that they are the same people who are the board chairman or the heading the operations, and they are not able to say anything? Compel the board chairman of GPHA, the current head of the GPHA, board chairman of GPHA, who is also a member of the MPS board, and the head of this, to come out clearly and say, one, the review that they did, how much it cost, what was involved, what was the conclusion. Two, the so-called assessment said GPHA will lose $70 million per year and lose a number of workers, whether they agree with it or not. If they agree, what are they doing to save those jobs? We want these three things known to the people of this country, so that the people who are trying to muddy the water, we can see the water clear.
Okay. We'll leave it here. More of this will come, but surely you do it your best. Honorable Member of Parliament for Adaklu, Kwame Agbeja Governs, and Oten and Kano.
Needs FM.